Welcome to Modest Goddess, where we talk about the things people don't talk about enough. This is episode 4. I'm so excited that I've stayed consistent, and if you've been listening, you've stayed consistent. We love that. We love consistency. And so we'll jump right into it. So, the first thing we're going to talk about today is consistency and staying consistent. There's a couple things that have helped me form practices and stay consistent in my life, and I just want to share them. So, what I've noticed is it's very hard to stay consistent if you are not acknowledging your progress and if you're not giving yourself a little pat on the back. Very often, when we try and start to form habits and we fall short, we're very hard on ourselves, and it's an awful pattern because then you're never going to start the good thing that you want to start again. I have a pretty big pattern of telling myself I'm not enough in this way and that way. And what I've been doing is just trying to give myself credit for how far I've come in a year. And I think about what I've done in a year and what I've established in a year and the things I have gone through this year. And it pumps me up a little bit, and it encourages me to move forward with what I'm trying to build consistency with. What is a good practice for me is acknowledging how far I've come up to this point with what I'm trying to start, and also giving yourself whatever it is, some sort of controlled time to maybe enjoy the thing that you're avoiding. So I'll give you an example. I'm not celiac, but I am super gluten intolerant and sensitive and get super inflamed. I've got a thyroid thing. I'm just really not supposed to have gluten. But I can have it every once in a while and I'll be okay. So I've just had this all or nothing mentality like my whole life. If I'm not doing the thing fully, I'm not doing it at all. And I've been very extreme in a lot of ways. And I'm really trying to balance that all out. So what I've been doing, and it has been working now for about 4 weeks or 5 weeks, I don't have any gluten the whole week. And then on the 7th day, I allow myself gluten. So once a week, I have a day where I have gluten, I have cane sugar, and I also get very inflamed from cane sugar, so I also don't have it during the week. And then on that 7th day, I just let myself go, and I let myself not have to have so much control and discipline, or I like to call it devotion, to my lifestyle. You know, it's a lifestyle, and I feel brighter and I feel better when I'm not having it. So just giving myself that one day a week to have it also helps me feel good. And I've noticed that if I'm just going hard and I've gone 2 weeks, no gluten, no cane sugar, it's very hard to stay consistent for me when I do that. So I have to give myself at least one day every week to just live my life without boundaries in that way. And it helps me stay consistent all the other days. That's my cat. She says hi. Okay, so before we go into the next topic, I would like to share a quote that I made up. Maybe somebody else said it, I don't know, but I think I made it up. So every time you allow yourself to feel a feeling, the world becomes a little less numb. Take what you will. Okay, the second topic is sometimes it's good not to have a totally open heart. And in this spiritual communities, a lot of them, they're always encouraging you to have this open heart. It's not always a good thing. Sometimes we have to close down for a period of time. It's not always good to have an open heart, and I will tell you why. Because if your heart is too open and you allow anybody without discernment into your sphere to talk to you, to vent to you, it's gonna be draining your energy, and it's not gonna be good for you. So having an open heart all the time, if you don't know how to set boundaries, if you don't know how to feel your boundaries, it's not a good thing. You're better off closing off and getting to understand your body and your mind until you're able to open up again and have discernment about who you're letting into your orbits, who you're allowing to vent to you and talk to you a lot. Discernment is the word. Until you have discernment, it is not safe for you to have an open heart. I used to go to music festivals a lot, and people would just like vent to me, just like their whole life story and all their problems. And it was very draining for me as somebody who identifies as empathic. You know, I would feel them quite a bit. And people tend to latch on to people who feel those things, you know, who feel very deeply because they want that comfort from them. And, you know, it was super draining. And once I started to understand my energy and start to feel very drained, it was a pattern and I started to notice it, I definitely closed off quite a bit I definitely got a lot of people out of my friend group that weren't good for me. And I became pretty closed off. Started wearing all black. I still wear a lot of black, but protecting my energy more and just being more mindful who I allowed to vent to me and talk to me. And I learned about the word capacity, and we don't always have capacity for that, for people to just dump on us. And that's okay. You need to live this life for you. And if you do not have capacity for something, it's okay to vocalize that. And I learned how to set boundaries, which was one of the most important things with learning discernment. You know, if I feel my boundaries are being broken and not honored, or even just learning how to set them, you know, that was a big part of being able to open my heart again. And now I do feel safe opening my heart to the world when I go out in the world, when I commune with people, or go to a festival. I can feel when it's time to walk away. I can feel when I just need to honor my capacity and say, hey, I don't really have capacity for this. And it takes a lot of time to do that. So it's not always good to have an open heart. Sometimes you need to close off for a bit and just start to get to know your own edges, your own boundaries, and be able to vocalize it. It's a whole thing. It takes time. Be patient. It's okay to close off your heart. Don't listen to all that noise in the spiritual communities about having an open heart and how you need it. Sometimes it's for the best to close off for a bit. Okay, next topic. Speaking of festivals and people breaking your boundaries, I was at a festival in Florida and it was amazing and I had the best time ever. And I really started to notice the behavior of men and how men are behaving at festivals, because I didn't experience this breaking of boundaries with women. And I will share one of them. How do we behave in a crowd? Men, sir, let me tell you some things not to do. So, first thing was when I was dancing, like this happened several times, men would just push me out of the way, and like I would have to dance in a different spot or like behind them. And I'm at a point in my life where, yeah, I don't tolerate that. So I just pushed my way right back in. What I did was I danced into them and I moved them over to where they were so I could reestablish where I was. And I'm like, do you have no spatial awareness, or are you just disrespectful? I really could not wrap my mind around it, but I also was having a good time. I didn't have time to get into that. So I just danced my way back and I took up my space because that's what we have to do. And another thing that was happening was when people were trying to get closer to the stage, they would kind of like push me out of the way with their hands. And like your unsolicited touch at festivals, this is for men everywhere, it is not wanted. I do not want a random man touching me here, I don't want it. And that's what they were doing. And at one point, somebody did that and their girlfriend was behind them and said, babe, you don't have to touch people. You can use your words. Use your words. You could do a little tap tap if someone doesn't hear you, but don't move my body physically. Like, who do you think you are? Anyway, that's just a PSA for men at festivals. Please learn how to behave accordingly and stop moving me out of the way when I'm dancing, because I'll just move you right back out of the way and you'll have to deal with that. Okay, next up. 3 signs that somebody who really projects themselves as spiritual, it's not genuine. Here's 3 signs. Number 1, when they have holier than thou vibes. We all know what this is. And you can feel it when someone just thinks that they're better than you, and the holier than thou vibe. If you feel holier than thou vibes, likely it is not genuine and they still have a lot of ego work to do. Number 2, if they're telling you a story or make you feel less than them while they are explaining something to you that you might be unfamiliar with, also not genuine spirituality in my book. It requires a lot of ego work. That is what a huge part of spirituality is, which brings me to number 3. They have trouble taking accountability for their actions. In my view of spirituality, accountability is one of the highest forms of spirituality because you've had to do a shit ton of ego work to get there. And in order to take accountability for our actions without getting defensive, you had to have done the work, and your spirituality is genuine. So when somebody is not taking accountability for their actions, you can be sure that it is not genuine and they're just putting on a front. Next topic. This one's about triggers and being triggered. So if you're familiar with triggers, you're just living your life and then all of a sudden you feel this huge reaction. It could have had something pretty substantial trigger you. It could be something smaller, but you kind of get the vibe that my reaction is not appropriate to my experience. So, as an example, let's say somebody lies to you or betrays you in some sort of way. And then you have a huge reaction, but it was just a small little fib or a little white lie. And of course, that doesn't feel good. And you should react to that and clear that away and start to talk to the person about it so they don't do that again. But it's a huge reaction, and you start to feel all the betrayal, all the lies from your whole life that people have lied to you or betrayed you. You just feel that feeling in your body, it's in your heart, it's so heavy. It's a somatic feeling. It's in the body. Triggers are old stories, old wounds that we carry that resurface from an experience that we're experiencing now. And a lot of times our reactions can be a little bit over the top because we can't think clearly when we're triggered. You know, it's really okay to take a moment when you feel that, to feel your feelings, let it flow through. Think about what happened, think about the reaction. And if you can identify that you are triggered, sometimes it helps to think about maybe why. Like, why did that trigger me? What happened in my past that's still living in my body? In somatic experiencing, that's called overcoupling, when we take an experience that we're having now and overcouple it with something from our past, or maybe several things from our past. And, you know, it's trauma in the body that we have not processed, we have not metabolized. And it is normal to be triggered. I think it happens to a lot of people all the time, and they just didn't have the language for it. It used to happen to me a lot before I knew what the word was, and now I know, and I can sit with it. Having the language is so important. So when I'm triggered now, I'll just tell you a little thing that I do. If you're familiar with meditation, you have a little meditation practice, or even not. If you can close your eyes for a moment, let's say today somebody did something and you felt the feeling of betrayal. Think about in the past when you have felt that feeling, and maybe it is a way bigger betrayal than the one you had today. You close your eyes and you feel, if you're able to feel into your body, that's great. And that will really be helpful here. So you close your eyes, you breathe, just get in the zone. And so you go into your body and you feel the physical feeling of that old memory of someone betraying you in that really big way. And then you think about what happened today, where it was maybe a smaller betrayal, something easier to process. And you breathe into that feeling. And then you go back to the old one. And then you go back to what happened today, and you feel in your body the difference. Likely, the old one will be heavier, stronger feeling, maybe in a different place in the body. And just feeling the difference between the physical feeling will uncouple them over time. So that's a really cool exercise I like to do when I'm hella triggered. And it's really like, honestly, like knowing that you are triggered is going to help you process your experience right now. Okay, so I think that's it. It's the eclipse, happy full moon eclipse. And I'm going to show you, I got some prints made of some paintings I made, and I'm going to show you. This is the original one, and this is the print. It came out so cool. It's in a frame, it's ready to hang, and you can find that on my website, alilazart.com. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you get one. It looks so good on your wall, and it's super cute. And until next time, my loves, I can't wait to hang out again, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for listening. I'll see you next time.